the key to success. Buy Michael a drink.
Just once a year, not too many.
You know, and sure enough,
They're
year after year, you'll see the returns.
Yeah, but they're diminishing return. Like more than one drink a year, I start giving bad advice.
Yeah, that's when I'm
getting a little bit.
You can't be too
tipsy.
overly. Yeah, you can't be like too.
That's right.
Wheels can't be too greased. You know.
Exactly. You don't want to overheat the engine.
That's right.
Hi, I'm Josh Owen. As the owner of a video marketing company in New Orleans, I've been on the quest to learn everything I can about marketing. Everyone has a different style, different strategy, and a different experience. Is there a wrong way to do it? A right way to do it? Let's find out together as we make marketing make sense.
Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of Make Marketing Make Sense. I'm here with the one, the only, Michael Hecht of GNO Inc. Thanks for joining us today, man.
Pleasure to be here. Happy Friday.
Yeah,
Thanks for having
Happy Friday.
me.
Thank you, man. Absolutely. Well, we're here to talk about, in particular, preparing your business for success.
Yep.
And that's what our topic today is. And I feel like you might know a thing or two about that. I don't know, with your resume / track record, if that's something that you...
What's the State Farm ad? You know, I know a few things because I've seen a few things.
Yeah.
Made a lot of mistakes, had a few successes.
Okay, I love that. Well, then you probably could give them something to talk about. So,
yeah, hope so.
Well, tell me, what are some of the ingredients that, GNO Bling... What are some of the
GNO
ingredients?
Bling.
GNO
I like
Bling.
that.
You know what I'm saying? Bring it on back.
Yeah.
What are some of the ingredients that GNO Inc. Brings to the table for businesses?
Mostly just ice. We just keep it icy. Yeah,
okay.
mostly.
Like slushy ice or like what kind of ice?
Nah, just like yellow diamonds mostly.
Wow, yellow diamonds.
Yeah, it's the whole GNO Bling thing.
Are those like free diamonds?
What? No, they're not.
Oh no.
They're blood-free diamonds. All right.
Okay.
We're gonna start this.
I don't know about that.
The businesses that I've seen that are most successful, in my experience, including the ones that I've been involved in, have been successful, and those that have not, I've learned the counterexample, tend to have three things that they're really able to do. One is they really know what they are. They know, I think there's a concept of the hedgehog. They know what their hedgehog is. Their hedgehog is the idea that when a hedgehog is attacked, it curls up into its protective little essence. So the good businesses... So, for example, I had a restaurant movie theater in San Francisco. We knew that even though we were known for the movies, we were essentially a restaurant. So we knew what we were. The second is those businesses that seem to do the best over time, and this would include nonprofits or schools or whatever, tend to have a really strong culture. They tend to culturally understand their values, and those values apply to their customers as well as to their employees. A local firm that I know that is not in a particularly sexy business but has a really strong culture is Latrim. They make articulated conveyor belts and shrimp peelers, but they've got this culture of innovation that allows them to get some of the best and brightest from around the world. And then the third is, I think, is this idea of brand, of being able to express the essence of a company and its value proposition in multiple channels, but in a consistent way. And when you think about those companies that really have developed an incredibly strong brand, Apple might be maybe the best that we have, today. They tend to be able to create a tremendous amount of value because no matter what product you're looking at or what channel you're receiving their information, that brand remains consistent. And somehow I think that gives you confidence in their product. So I think those three things, knowing what you are, having a strong and productive culture, and then I think communicating those two things through your brand messaging.
Yeah. Wow. Right there and then. 1, 2, 3. We got ourselves a recipe for success right there.
Well,
so
now you just got to do it.
Yeah, now you got to get out. That's the hard part. Easier said than
part.
done. But hey, once they're in there, they're in there. So fantastic. Well, I think when you're talking about these three, ingredients, it's easy to say, okay, I got to get out there, I got to do that. But another part of it is, I think a lot of us, we're not in it alone, and some of us, if you are trying to do it alone, there's help out there. That's like right. Yourself with GNO Inc. And how is GNO Inc. a part of that success? How do you try to attribute yourselves to help these people, to assist these businesses, to help reach these three goals?
That's a great question because a lot of the work that GNO Inc. does is systems level. It's system driven. So we'll do things like setting up a workforce program at Delgado to get workers the employees they need, or we'll work on changing a tax law that's hindering people growing their business. It's a great question about how we help businesses achieve their own success through knowing what they are and their culture and communications. And maybe it's two ways.
Yeah.
One is I would hope that at GNO Inc. we're able to model those three things, that we've got a good sense of what we are as an organization, we've got a culture that people can emulate, and we're good at communicating. And maybe to some degree we can provide a model for up-and-coming companies, even ones that are not nonprofits but doing other disparate things. The other is I'd like to think that a lot of the content that we develop, a lot of the stories that we put out there, a lot of the statistics that we promulgate about the region, give people ideas for what they should focus on as a business, or elements that they can use in their content.
Right.
And then finally, if you buy me a coffee or a beer or a wine or even brown liquor, I'm very happy to have mentoring sessions. I mean, I'm pretty cheap as a dude.
I mean, hey, we've heard that, so I mean, that's good to know for all
easy.
you out there,
Oh, yeah.
get him a drink, fill him up, he'll fill you out with some questions.
504-555-1212.
I mean, actually, we've heard that already today we had Cleveland Spears earlier, and he said the same thing. So.
Cleveland's a great example, actually. Can we use Cleveland as an
example? Let's use Cleveland as let's get him on blast. He's already been blasting out right now. Let's get him up there.
So first of all, when Cleveland came to me and told me he was going to do the Fried Chicken Festival, I said two things. I said, Cleveland, one, this is going to be an extraordinarily huge hit, and two, you're going to hell.
Wow.
Both of those, right? Y'all hear me, right? And both those have turned out to be...
Because you're saying that because, fried chicken's hot?
Oh, my God, because, you knew it was going to be just, enormous.
Yeah.
And second of all, oh, damn, now we have Fried Chicken Festival, and it's going to take over the world. It was he created he basically created, a battered and fried monster.
Yeah,
right?
100%. We needed that, though,
But what I love about Cleveland and his success, and a lot of people can learn from Cleveland, and I have had a lot of coffees and a lot of drinks with Cleveland over the past 15 years, maybe as mentorship and maybe as therapy, maybe just as a friend. But if you think about those three things, I think one, Cleveland understands what he is and what his company is. It's about ideas and execution. If you look at the people that work for Cleveland, there's a very consistent culture, I think, of hard work and earnestness. There really are grinders, and that's not necessarily fashionable these days.
Right.
And then I think Cleveland has done a really good job over the years of continuing to build his personal brand and the brand of his company. And so I think the success he has today, and we had lunch not too long ago, and he said, Michael, I'm in a place now where, I'm not worried about making payroll every 2 weeks. I'm thinking about how I want to grow the business. I'm going on vacation. Yeah. He's gotten to that level of success and stability, I would argue, in large degree by focusing on those three fundamentals and maybe buying me a drink once a year.
Okay, well, that's the key to success. Buy Michael a drink.
Just once a year,
once
not
a
too
year,
many.
And sure enough, year after year, you'll see the returns.
Yeah, but they're diminishing return. More than one drink a year, I start giving bad advice.
Yeah, that's when
getting a little bit.
You can't be too overly. Yeah, you can't be too.
That's right.
Wheels can't be too greased.
Exactly. You don't want to overheat the engine.
That's right. Well, you learned it here first, folks. Well, the last thing I'll hit you with is advice. And so I love the great example with Cleveland, but having seen Cleveland on his journey, other business owners, what would you say to them as they're on their journey? Some advice that you would give them to, establish themselves here in New Orleans.
Wow. So in New Orleans or in general, because in New Orleans or in real life, because those are two different places.
So we're here in New Orleans, so let's hone in on specifically New Orleans.
Okay. There's some intersection between New Orleans and the real world, but it's only a very slim slice of the Venn diagram. I think here in New Orleans, maybe a lot of the rules of the real world apply, but even more so. The importance of relationships and your reputation here are paramount because it's such a small and intimate place, and because people care so much about relationships. I think the second is that things do happen in a different way here, which can sometimes be frustrating. But what I've learned is that the ways that things happen culturally, bureaucratically, to some degree are like quicksand. And what I mean by that is that if you try to really fight it, it's going to shear, you're going to sink to the bottom, and you're going to die. So to some degree, you got to recognize that if you relax and go through it, it might take a little bit longer than you wanted, but you'll get to the other side and you'll still be alive. And the third thing reminds me of something I said to a developer, or a developer said to me a few years ago, who's been very successful in New Orleans. And I said, what's it been like doing business here? Because I know sometimes there can be challenges.
Right.
And he said, Michael, those challenges are real, but once you get to the other side of them, they actually create a competitive moat. They create a competitive advantage. So if you take the time to become successful in New Orleans, to some degree, you're competitively protected because other people don't necessarily want to make that journey.
Right.
So if you stick with it, and Cleveland's another good example of that, I think you can actually have really good, sustainable success, in this place. And I think overall it's authenticity.
Yeah.
The only sin in New Orleans is being either inauthentic or boring. So be authentic and interesting,
right.
and you're gonna be fine.
Right. That's the New Orleans finest right there. I love what you're saying because basically, from my mind, I hear you saying, take the time and make sure you're not trying to shove a square piece into a star-shaped hole. Make sure that it's like the right kind of where you need to fit. And take your time with it. And make sure like you're in the right place at the right time to do the right things. And so
I think that's right. I mean, I've learned again in my journey that if I have an opportunity, a business opportunity, or if I meet a person, or if I'm confronted with a challenge, I used to listen to my gut and then decide with my head. And what I've learned now is that I shouldn't do that. I should just listen to my gut because the gut's always right. And my head has rationalized me into and out of a lot of things that it shouldn't have.
Right.
So now if I meet somebody, whatever my initial gut reaction is, like if my shoulders relax, I'm good with the person.
Nice.
But if like I get that spidey sense going on, even if I can't explain it, I'll be like, I'm so sorry. It's been nice meeting you, but I've got a dentist appointment at the barber, and my car is ready, and I got to go.
You got a dentist appointment at your barber?
Yeah, and I got to go.
Man, that guy's multifaceted. Yeah.
So I just think that authenticity and being an interesting human being, being a human being will get you a long way in this place.
That's fantastic. Well, I love it. Well, I think that's a great place to hop into from our next segment, which is the special segment.
The special segment.
We got a special segment.
Like short bus special, or?
Yeah, well, I mean, it depends on how, it's any kind of special you want,
Right.
So the bus is as long as you want it to be.
Let's make it extra special.
All right, well, okay. Well, I mean, that's all upon you, all up to you.
All right.
So, as some people I'm sure are aware, you're not only, doing things at the tippy top of GNO Inc., but you're also doing things on the roundabout with the turntables.
Trying to.
And so, as your alter ego, El Camino,
yes.
Mr. DJ, I want to know where you would go to if you had a world tour.
Ooh.
What places you would pick on your world tour, and why?
Wow. Okay. So where are we starting?
New Orleans, of course.
New Orleans. Okay. So I would start out in New Orleans, probably at Tips.
Okay.
Because of the history there, and also just because now that it's been renovated by Galactic, the sound system is amazing.
It's on point. Yeah.
It's totally on point. They took down the beams. It's clear.
Right.
And then, are we going east or west? Which direction are we headed?
Whichever direction your heart takes you.
So then let's go east. So then I'd probably go to Miami.
Okay.
Because we got to party on a boat.
You got to hit up Miami.
Got to party on a boat.
Yeah.
From there, I'd probably hop on over and go to London, maybe Bristol.
Okay.
But probably London, just because, go to London and go to some classic club in London like Fabric, someplace that's really just a classic, well-known place. Then maybe we'd head down south, go to Ibiza.
Okay,
I've never been there.
You never been there? That's the DJ Mecca. You got to hit it up.
Hit Pasha or something there.
Yeah.
From then I would continue on south, go to North Africa.
Okay.
Do a little kind of like Moroccan kind of jam. I think something like that. And then maybe continue on going down south, maybe hit down somewhere like Zimbabwe.
Whoa.
Do something like at Victoria Falls.
You can do like on a safari kind of thing?
One of those kind of things. Or maybe like at the Victoria Falls Hotel.
Oh, at the falls.
Joint, right, at the falls.
Wow.
Then we'd have to kind of continue on, keep going on. Now we're pretty far south. So I guess we'd go from there, maybe up to India, maybe stop at the Seychelles.
Okay.
Do one of those things
That's
you
what
put
I was
on
thinking,
YouTube.
maybe like some island
Put me in
vibes,
like a flowery situation, a halter top, wind blowing in my hair. India, we'd have to do Goa.
Okay.
Right? Have to hit Goa. That's a classic.
That's the classic, yeah.
Right? From there, we'd want to hop
still.
over. Then I'd have to go probably over to Japan, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean.
Okay. Where in Japan, though?
That's an interesting
You're
question.
gonna go to Hokkaido or like.
I don't know, like Hokkaido or like I don't know, maybe just Tokyo for like the real kind of like classic Tokyo, vibe. Although there are also very beautiful places you can go to, or like Hokkaido, down to the south. Then from there, I'd have to go down to where a lot of it started for me is Australia.
Oh, hit it up. Okay.
I'd have to go right back to the SB, the original club where I used to be able to, actually, it's kind of embarrassing.
That was like ground zero.
That was where back in the 90s, I did actually used to have like a weekly freestyle.
Freestyling?
At the SB with this James Brown cover band.
Did you go by a name?
Given that I was in Australia, they actually just called me Mikey. It was
Mikey.
You're gonna make
Mikey
me blush
Mike.
now.
Oh man, we gotta hear it here first.
It's not gonna happen. And then I think we would just basically come on back home. Probably go back to San Francisco and go to one of the great clubs in San Francisco. Maybe even like the End Up. Wow. That's a place where everybody would end up. Okay. Maybe 1015 Folsom. A lot of the older places have gone.
Yeah.
And then I think we would bring it on back. That'd be a nice little
right on back in,
a nice tour.
Yeah, around the world in 80 days.
Yeah.
Well, all right. So we're starting a GoFundMe.
Exactly.
GoFundMe for Michael Hecht's DJ World Tour.
Go fund me and go explain this to the wife.
I hope. Yeah, I gotta. Yeah, go explain that to the wife. Take her along the ride.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about. I hope that maybe as you get in there as someone that is of Korean descent, you take a little inch down into Seoul.
Would love to. Well, actually, so it's Seoul's incredible right now, and what's going on in K-pop has been just absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
But if I was going to go to Seoul, like where would I want to hit up? Would I want to go to Seoul, or where would I really want to hit up?
That's a great question. I was not expecting that to be asked to me.
Yeah,
so,
well, flipped it on you.
But I would say Seoul is, there's like this district in Seoul that is full of nightlife, and it's, you can't, all the clubs there. I would want you to hit up like the tiniest of clubs, there to really like, because what's magic there is when you see people like crowding out on the streets, and it's just like all over the place,
Those are the joints. I mean, like it's fun to go and be at like one of these enormous places like Space in Miami, but the places that are the most memorable are kind of those basement joints where like the condensation is dripping off the pipes. Yeah. And those are the moments
where it's like standing room only. There's like just enough where like you can really feel the energy of the crowd.
That's why I'm sure you've seen the Boiler Room series on YouTube. Those are so beautiful because they put people in like these regular spaces. It's DJing in the round and arena stuff is pretty impressive, and to go see a Skrillex or somebody at that scale, but I think that it's the intimate places, and also like big ups to like all the female DJs in the world. Like the world like needs like more women DJs, and they're starting to really like kind of make their mark again.
Definitely, I've seen some of them coming out of Brazil, and it's just like you're just seeing all this, right there, popping off. So
particularly when they go hard, like with jungle or drum and bass.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about. This guy knows his stuff. Check out his next set. When's your next set?
Oh, that's interesting. So what am I playing next? So, I got to get that schedule. I don't actually have my Christmas set set up. I'll let you know.
All right, TBD.
TBD. We got to go and set one up. We got to do one.
That's
right?
That's our. Oh, here we go. All right,
right?
That's what I'm talking about. We're a company of sax players, so we'll come in and join you.
We can do that.
We'll have a little cameo.
Before, right?
That's what I'm talking about. Well, fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Michael. Can you also just give us a quick shout out for for you or GNO Inc. or anyone else that you want to tell us where you can find you on the internet or on social?
Yeah. So internet, obviously it's GNOinc.org. I'm mhecht GNO on whatever we're calling it today. Twitter, X, the artist formerly known as Prince.
Yeah.
On Insta though, it's at The Real Camino.
Okay.
At The Real Camino.
At The Real Camino. Hit him up there.
Yeah, or DJ
find him there. Yeah, that's right. All right, and we'll get that set going soon. Thank you so much for joining me, man. This has been another fantastic episode of Make Marketing Make Sense, and we'll see you all in the next one. This has been Make Marketing Make Sense, brought to you by ComfyStone. If you need video content for social media, your website, or email marketing, hit up ComfyStone at comfystone.com and follow ComfyStone on Instagram and TikTok. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.